Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Zach, I'm the co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. If you are new to the channel, tons of content daily. Today we're looking at Yusuf Corker, Kentucky, undrafted free agent from the Giants. This dude could be something interesting. He's a safety, hard-hitting safety, aggressive, downfield type of defender. Can kind of fit in a couple different alignments. We're going to break him down, take a look at his tangible traits, what he offers this team. There's not too much film out there on him. But we'll try to throw in some clips here and there during the video so you can get a look at what he has to offer at the next level and what the Giants might be intrigued by. He had a 5th-round draft grade, interestingly, from NFL.com, and he went undrafted. He's 24 years old, so he's a little bit older for a rookie. But nonetheless, he's a big dude. He's rated, I think, in the 95th percentile in bench press with 23 bench press. The dude is strong as hell. He misses a lot of tackles, but we're going to kind of take a look at why he misses those tackles. And what he can offer the Giants moving forward. But Anthony, before we dive into Yusuf Corker, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great, and it's safe to say that the Giants got tremendous value with this undrafted free agent signing. I mean, everywhere you look, whether it's the Draft Network, PFF, or NFL.com, Yusuf Corker was projected to be a 5th-round pick. They had 5th-round grades on him, and the Giants got him as an undrafted free agent. So that right there screams tremendous value. And this is a player that does have some traits that can be developed. When you watch him, he's a hard-hitting, physical, free safety. He may not be the fastest. He may not have the most range, but he's got some thump to his game. He's got some strength and some power in the tackling department. So I like Yusuf. I'm excited to see what he maybe can bring to the table during OTAs, training camp, see if maybe he can stick around on the 53-man roster. But ultimately, this is a player, low-key player, undrafted free agent who's going to have to fight really hard throughout the summer in order to make his way onto the 53-man roster. But when you take a look at, some of the other undrafted free agents that the Giants might have signed, and then you take a look at this guy, Yusuf Corker, who was a 5th-round projected pick, he has a pretty good chance of sticking around on this roster, especially considering how thin the Giants are in the secondary. So I like Yusuf. I think he's got a good chance of potentially making the team.
Yeah, his best avenue to make this team is through the special teams unit, right? I mean, undrafted guy. Most of the NFL is constructed from undrafted free agents. That's just the legitimacy of the NFL. Like, not every draft pick pans out. Those UDFA guys fill out the practice squads. They fill out the reserves. They fill out a lot of the starting positions in the NFL. Yusuf Corker, I think that age and some limitations in his game definitely hold him back. He's 6 foot, 202 pounds, I believe. So he's not a huge guy for a box safety, right? He's considered a box safety or this dime backer. Last year, he kind of played mostly in the box, 793 total snaps, 319 run defense snaps, and 465 cover snaps. He did allow a 50% reception conversion rate, so 20 receptions over 40 targets, 200 yards allowed, and 1 touchdown. So he didn't get destroyed in coverage, but again, he's a box safety, so he's really being asked to play a lot more against the run. Super physical guy, really good form. He does miss tackles because of his aggressiveness. I think that he goes like balls to the wall every single play. He's going full speed. If you watch him run downhill, the guy he reacts so quickly, and he almost gets burned a couple times on the coverage side of things because of it, especially on those swing passes, especially on those kind of play action fakes. And he sometimes can get baited in, but as in a man coverage scheme, if you're going to ask him to play kind of this like linebacker or this like strong safety role, he's going to be asked to play against the run predominantly. The Giants are not going to have him lining up in man coverage all the time. And that's okay, because you don't really want him doing that. You want him blitzing from the middle of the field. You want him running downfield to fill those gaps in run defense. And I think that he could end up making an impact on this team. The safeties on the roster currently got Dane Belton, who just was drafted by the Giants. You have Julian Love, Xavier McKinney. None of those guys really come off as like hard-hitting safeties. Yusuf Corker is a hard-hitting safety, Anthony. So if you see, like, if he was to be utilized, if Wink Martindale was going to use him in the scheme, how do you think he would be best used?
I think a great way to use him is not really as a deep free safety. I think maybe moving him into the box, using his physicality and his willingness to get involved in the running game, making him a dime backer, money backer role, right? Where he kind of drops down from that safety position and plays some linebacker because he's got that range, he's got that quickness to play the safety position. But if you take that skill set and you put it into the linebacker role in a dime defense or maybe even a nickel defense, nickel linebacker, money backer role, I think that's where he could really be special because he can kind of use his physicality, use his run defense skills, right? His hard hitting mentality, put that into the box. But also when you have that spread out offense that you're going up against and you're in your dime package, you got a lot of defensive backs out there, 6 defensive backs out on the field. You can move this defensive back into the box, let him thump, and also let him cover some ground against tight ends. So that's where I see his role potentially being, just in that, linebacker hybrid role where you're playing both linebacker and safety. You're covering guys in the slot, covering the tight ends, that kind of stuff, but also making an impact as an additional run defender, but also as a defensive back. So kind of a versatile role. We know that Wink Martindale values versatility. We know that his defense is tremendously versatile. So I think when you look at Yusuf Corker and his skill set, it makes sense to put him into one of those versatile skill set roles where you kind of are playing more than one position at the same time.
That's absolutely right. When you're looking at Yusuf, really productive player coming from Kentucky, just like Wan'Dale Robinson, it's really exciting. The Giants probably looked at Wan'Dale and said, who on that defense coming out of the draft might be a guy that we should target? He probably was like, Yusuf Corker definitely has some skills, definitely a powerful, strong box safety. But 82 tackles last year, 8 passes defended. So he's had some success in coverage, 3.5 tackles for a loss, right? He gets into the defensive backfield. That is the main thing when it comes to Corker. He has the athleticism and speed and reaction timing to get into the backfield. He has a sack last year as well. It was a really good one. So, when you're looking at him as a pure, just a raw prospect, he's got some good speed. He's strong as hell, and he's a little undersized, but, at the end of the day, if you're playing that aggressive, it's going to come down to, can he solve those tackling issues? He misses a lot of tackles. So if he can, correct his form, maybe be a little bit more balanced in his approach and not just go like straight forward against the NFL players, agile guys, he's going to get juked out of his socks. So he's got to be more careful with that. He's got to have a more staggered approach, but still remain very aggressive in his style, especially if they're not asking him to drop into coverage and cover those deep safety portions of the field. Last year, he played, 270 snaps in box as a box safety, 132 in the slot, and 388 deep. So he actually played most of his snaps deep, but he's not really like that kind of rangy deep center fielder that you want, like an Xavier McKinney. He's better in the box. So I wonder if he kind of replaces Jabril Peppers' role as a kind of run stopper, athletic, strong safety. He's not going to be returning kicks anytime soon, but that's okay. I think Wan'Dale Robinson might have that job locked up if he can show some stuff in preseason. But Jabril Peppers, he was super athletic. He blitzed, dropped back against tight ends. Played some decent zone. I doubt the Giants will utilize a lot of zone, more cover one man coverage style. I don't know if I trust him in that facet just yet, but he could be like an early running downs type of player, maybe kind of guy that comes in on those 3rd and short kind of plays, those sweeps and whatnot. He has good reaction time. He can really attack on those 3rd and short and just really stuff the line of scrimmage. So that's kind of how I see Yusuf Corker making an impact. But special team seems to be the most probable. Maybe they use him as a gunner. He's got some good speed. He's aggressive. He's strong. Do you think gunner kind of is a suitable position for him to start his career?
I think that's a pathway to make the roster. If he can contribute on special teams, that's how he makes the roster at the end of the day, because, he's a very raw prospect. He needs a lot of development, and he needs to really develop his skill set if he wants to see playing time on the defensive side of the ball. But if he can make an impact as a gunner, for sure, that's definitely a way to make the roster. And I don't know if he has the great straight line speed necessary to be a good gunner, but he does have some physicality. That he can shed a block and he can get downfield and hopefully make a hard hitting tackle, maybe force a fumble on a punt. That's kind of an ability that I think he has, but typically you want to see gunners with a lot of straight line speed. You want your fastest guys out there so that they can get down to the ball as fast as possible. I don't know if he fits into that, but he does have some physicality. He could potentially get a little bit faster, make an impact as a hard-hitting gunner. So I do definitely see that path for him. But primarily, I think that he's just a very developmental prospect that the Giants might want to keep around because, as you mentioned, maybe that Jabril Peppers role, that money backer role, that dime backer role, maybe that's his avenue to playing. Maybe they can develop that skill set, get him involved on special teams to get him used to playing the NFL game, and maybe he can make an impact there, turn some heads, and then start to see some playing time on the defensive side of the ball. And hopefully the Giants can develop him because he does have some skills. He does have some raw traits that can be developed. If they can develop those skills, he can become a pretty decent contributor on the defensive side of the ball as well.
That's absolutely right. So, guys, let us know what you think about Yusuf Corker in the comments. Really curious to hear your thoughts. UDFA, maybe a gem, a steal type of guy, has some upside. We'll throw some clips into the video so you can get a look at what he has to offer. It's interesting. He has good attributes. I want to see if he can make an impression on special teams before Wink Martindale tries to utilize him as like a legitimate part of the scheme. But let him compete, man. This team is raw, man. They're right for the picking. Let them compete at every single spot. I'm done handing out starting jobs to players nowadays. Like we're just always handing out Darius Slayton. Here's a starting job. Here's a starting job to you, Mark. What's his name? Freaking Billy Price, or whether it be Matt Skura, handing out Nate Solder. There's no competition. Let these guys compete. That's the worst case scenario is these guys compete and the best one wins. Hopefully he can make a name for himself in the NFL and carve out a role on the New York Giants. But love to hear your comments below on the YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. I'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants video.